I joined the team. I've been a certified force therapy guide for just over a year now, and guiding force therapy walks throughout York region, Durham region, into Simcoe County, and of course the Kawarthas. Perfect. So our guide program, becoming a certified force therapy guide, is a much more involved training program than some of the things that you've heard about here. It's an 8-day intensive training course where you are sort of off in a forest somewhere and getting that detailed training on the benefits and the science behind force therapy. And then there's a 6-month practicum that you have to really work with a mentor guide that helps you work through a rather thick textbook of a bunch of different activities that you're supposed to do. So these are some of the things that I'm just going to talk about. You can go jump right to the next one. So I am not Japanese, and I apologize to anybody who speaks Japanese because I'm about to really destroy your language. But force bathing is based on the practice of Shinrin-yoku. Sorry. And it is a practice of spending time in nature. So when loosely translated, it means bathing in the forest atmosphere. And there's a lot of science around why. And you've heard a lot of people talking about some of the science, and I'm not going to get into too much detail. But suffice it to say that in the 80s in Japan, they were noticing that a lot of their populations in the urban areas were getting really sick. And a lot of it was autoimmune diseases and mental health challenges. And so after a number of different studies, they developed this practice of Shinrin-yoku, which I think we've all really been practicing it for millennia. But the more we become colonized, the more we become civilized, we get further and further away from nature. And as we get further and further away from nature, we're starting to see our bodies break down, whether it's mental, physical, or emotional. So after their practice of studying this, they came to realize that there was a number of different benefits from spending time in nature. You can go ahead. So one of them is called the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the only medical term I'm going to throw at you today, I promise. The parasympathetic nervous system is what I like to refer to as the rest and digest. This is the part of your nervous system that kicks in after Thanksgiving dinner. Or after you go home to mom's and she cooks that huge meal for you. And it's really about allowing your body to rest. Stay back. Thanks. It's really about allowing your body to rest. So what they've noticed is spending time in nature, 20-minute rest or walk in nature will actually boost your parasympathetic nervous system production by up to 102%. And that's the part of your body that regulates your heart rate, regulates your blood pressure, regulates your cholesterol. All of those types of health benefits you will see as a result of spending time in nature. And one of the reasons is because trees, when they're attacked, and this is where I'm going to get a little bit geeky on you for a moment, but when trees are attacked by fungus or infection or bacteria, they produce this thing called phytoncides. And phytoncides is essentially, it means killed by the plant. It's the tree's immune system. And when it releases these phytoncides, it comes out into the air like an essential oil. And when we walk in the forest, we breathe those phytoncides into our body. And they act in our bodies exactly the same way they act in the tree's body, in that it boosts our immune system functioning. 20 minutes in the forest will boost your immune system by up to 54%. I mean, if you could put that in a pill and put it on the shelf at Shoppers Drug Mart, it would fly off the shelves like nothing flat. But try to get somebody to commit to spending 20 minutes a day in nature, and suddenly that becomes a problem. And it becomes a problem because we're so busy. We have so much to do. And if you're parents, you have 3 or 4 times as much to do. And as a result, we end up with a lot of mental health challenges. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. A very personal story, so if I get choked up, I apologize ahead of time. My husband suffers from severe depression and anxiety. He is on a host of different medications that we are currently in medication changeover. They should then give you a Catamine It can go really, really well, or it can go really, really bad. Right now, we're going really, really bad. But we're managing it, and one of the ways that we're managing it is through going out into the forest. And you have to understand, my husband doesn't even like to eat on the deck, okay? And that's too much outdoors for him. And yet I've got him out walking in nature and hugging trees. And the reason that we do this is when I became a guide, I was so excited to come home and share this with my husband. I think he was the impetus for me going. It's like, come on, honey, I'm gonna fix you. And that's what wives do. And so I took him out for a walk, and after a walk this is invitations, and I'll explain what those are later, but after our second invitation, he came up to me and he said, sweetheart, look, I love you very, very much, and I really want to support you, but I have to stop. And I said, well, why? What's going on? And he said, well, you know, I'm moving so slowly and I'm being so mindful, but all I want to do is walk into the river and drown myself. And so at that point in time, the wife side of me came out and went, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But the guide side of me, that person that had been professionally trained, said, just take a breath. This is part of his process, and you have to trust that this is what's right for him. The forest will do what the forest will do. And so I took a step back and I said to him, you know what, sweetheart, just try one more. Just one more. And then if you're still having these negative thoughts, then we'll stop and you know, take that off the list of tools that we have. And so he said, okay, I'll do one more. And so for this invitation, I invited the folks that were there. And there's a couple of friends that we were with. And so I invited everybody to go out and find a forest being, whether it's a rock or a tree or a plant, and sit with it for 20 minutes. And so off everybody went. And I watched my husband slowly wander down the trail towards the river. And I kept him in eyesight because I'm not that, crazy. I'm going to make sure that I keep an eye on him. And after about 20 minutes, I called everybody back, and he came back, thank goodness. And I said, what's everybody noticing as a part of that invitation? And he said to me, when it came around to him, he said, I almost stopped doing this because I just had these dark feelings, I wanted to kill myself. And when I started going on this last invitation, I was walking up towards the river because I really felt like I wanted to get close to the river. But at the same time, I didn't want to get close to the river because I was afraid of it. And as I'm getting closer and closer, my feet are getting muddy and wet because the ground is all soppy and wet, which really irritated me because I didn't want to get wet. I just wanted to be in the river. Not quite sure how that works. And then he said I came across all these purple bushes where everything was scratching at my skin and I couldn't get down to the river. He said, so I stood there for a minute and was really angry and frustrated, and I took a breath and I looked around and went, the forest is trying to tell me that it's not time to give up. And that moment, for me, was worth all of the pain and all of the suffering of trying to get him to come out onto this walk. Because at that moment, he took responsibility for his mental health. It wasn't my job to fix it, it was his. Thank you. And that's why I keep doing these. Because at that point in time, and ever since, he no longer calls me to fix the little things that go wrong every day. I no longer, as the caregiver, have to worry about, he was running 5 minutes late and now his whole day's ruined and I can't trust him to pick up my son from school, right? Those are the things that now he has taken ownership of because the forest helped him. The guy who doesn't like eating outside. So I figure if it can help him, it can help anybody. And one of the reasons that mental health, that forest bathing works for mental health is because when you're parasympathetic, we talked about the parasympathetic nervous system, when it kicks in, serotonin kicks in. encourages your body to produce serotonin, which is the happy drug, right? That's the happy hormone that makes everybody happy. But it also reduces the amount of cortisol and adrenaline that are in your system, which is, of course, the stuff that increases stress and anxiety. So there's scientific proof, as well as just what I was able to witness, which quite frankly I think is more important. But there's scientific proof as to why this works. So with children, we find there's a lot of different reasons to get kids outside. And I don't know how many of you have read the book, The Last Child in the Wilderness?
What's the name?
Last Child in the Wilderness. But it talks about things like nature deficit disorder, which isn't officially recognized, but I think for anybody that has kids, they know they spend a whole lot of time doing this, down on their phones or down on their devices. Thank you. Down on their phones or down on their devices, and it's all technological as opposed to getting out and playing in nature. And so what we're finding is when we force kids to unplug and reconnect, they actually come up with some really brilliant things. And I know it's going to sound like I stacked the deck here, but I do have a lot of these interesting interactions with my own family. I always test things in my own family first. And so the young one in the yellow cap there, that's my son. His name's Quaden, he's 12 years old. And he has recently started suffering from anxiety at night. Lucky us. And one of the reasons that he has anxiety at night is because at 12 years of age, he's worried that his resume isn't strong enough for him to get a good job. He's 12. But these are the things that the kids are seeing, right? And I said, first of all, where did you even hear of the word resume? You're 12. And he said, well, I saw it on YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. And then my principal came in and was telling us it's important to stay in school because if you stay in school, you'll go to college and university, and then you'll have a really good resume and you'll get a good job. So he's worried because he's not sure if he wants to go to college or university. He's in grade 7. That he's worried that he's not going to have a really strong resume. So these are some of the things that rattle around in his brain. And he doesn't get a chance to think about them or to process them or to talk about them with his parents, because he's not unplugged long enough to actually explore his own emotions. He's emotionally illiterate. And that's my fault. That's my husband's fault. But it's also, I think, it's systemic within our society. And so I take him out forest bathing all the time. And he loves it. And he comes up with these creative, wonderful ideas at the end of it. You know, he's got a friend who has a speech impediment, a stutter. And when he's out in nature, he doesn't stutter because he's relaxed. He's not so worried. He's not so anxious anymore. One of the things he said to me the other day when we were out and walking in the forest, and he found this tree, so he said, Mom, I found this tree. I'm just going to sit with her for a little while, okay? Are you okay with that? Yeah, go for it. So he wandered off and he sat down with this tree. I got this beautiful photo of him sitting there looking up into the canopy of the tree. And he says, when he's finished and we're walking home, he says, Mom, I think when we sit with the trees, that our soul talks to the tree's soul. And part of our soul breaks off and stays with the tree, and part of the tree's soul breaks off and stays with us. And so our soul gets bigger and bigger because it's getting all of these different pieces from trees and from squirrels and from chipmunks and the foxes. He says, and then when you see a fox, like if you went up to Algonquin Park and you saw a fox, it would automatically be your friend because you already have part of the fox's soul inside of you. I'm like, this kid is brilliant, right? It's amazing what happens when you get him off of 5 Nights at Freddy. Go ahead. So all of that means, there's all kinds of obvious benefits for participating in forest bathing, but I haven't really explained to you what it is. And it's a little more complicated than the mood walks and just going out and walking in nature. It's a really slow process. A forest bathing or a forest therapy walk is usually about 2.5 to 3 hours in length. And it is an active process in mindfulness. We don't don't really use the word mindfulness when we talk about forest bathing, but that really is what it is. So we have a series of different invitations that we offer. And some of them we offer in a specific order. So the first two are always the same, and the last one is always the same. And the reason for that is because what we do is we slowly take people into liminal space. And liminal space is that part of your brain that loses track of time, and you just actually stay exactly in that moment. Any of you that have ever been driving home and you can't remember like the last 5 kilometers of your trip home because your brain just sort of wanders off, that's kind of like liminal space. You just lose that sense of what's happening around you and you stay really concrete in the moment. And then the last invitation that we offer is always about slowly bringing people back into time-oriented space, because you can't just release those people and let them get behind the wheel of a car. That's not really a safe thing to do. We're not altering anybody's, brain by any means, but what we do allow is for people to slow down. And so one of our, the second invitation that we always offer is called What's in Motion. And our first one is Pleasures of Presence. So it's really about going through all the different senses and exploring how your body feels. What are the things that you're hearing? What's the quietest sound that you can hear? What's the loudest sound that you can hear? And so we go through that process really, really slowly. It usually takes about 20 minutes. And then we do an invitation called What's in Motion. And it moves slowly. And I often say to people, we move slower than what you would probably consider to be slow. Okay, we're not about physical activity. A forest bathing walk in the 2.5 to 3 hours, we might travel at 1 kilometer. So we're slow. Okay. So, oh, geez, look, I'm getting way ahead of myself. So I did want to actually pause here for a moment. So I talked about sensory, that it's very sensory-based. This young lady here, Lindsay, was a student of mine and is now a colleague of mine in the natural resources world. And 3 years ago, she was in a car accident, hit black ice, flipped her car, and severed her spinal column. And she is now what they call an incomplete quadriplegic. So she can move her hands and her feet, but she can't walk and she can't lift things or anything like that. And as a result of her injury, I find it fascinating, tragic but fascinating, is that anything that she touches with her hands hurts. So for her, that sensation of touch means pain because of the way the nervous system registers that contact. And so a young lady with a young family who works in the natural resources field, this was the first time, this was just this summer, this was the first time that she had been in a forest in 3 years, and it was the first time that she touched a tree in 3 years, which in my world is just not acceptable, right? I'm a tree hugger, literally, and for somebody who is so connected to the natural world, to have them separated like that was not acceptable. So we established an accessible trail at our conservation area so that people with wheelchairs could get in and out. And we took Lindsay out and did a forest bathing walk. And when she touched this tree here, because it was so slow and so mindful, it was the first time in 3 years that she was able to touch anything and not have pain. And so, as a result, she's now started to incorporate that in her practice for when she hugs her children, so that she's no longer feeling pain when she comes into contact with her own children, which I think is really, really special. So I say we slow down, we move really slow, and it's really incredible, the What's in Motion, we would spend 15, 20 minutes walking, we wouldn't get the circumference of this room in that time. That's how slow we're moving. And as we're moving, we're watching for things that are in motion. So your brain is active. It's active and it's focused on something. And that helps us slip into that liminal space. And so we might notice, normally walking through the forest, I spend a lot of time in the forest, it's what I do. would notice the butterfly sitting on the goldenrod. I even probably noticed it was a common ringlet and go, wow, look at that, it's really pretty. And I might notice that there was a cobweb that was hanging down and attached to the goldenrod. But I certainly wouldn't notice the two little branches coming off of it that you can barely see in that photo. One right above her antenna and one just off in front of her, I don't know, a little bit in front of her. Anyway, those are the things that we see. But what we really notice is that as she starts to walk out onto the plume of the goldenrod, that the branch on the tree behind where that cobweb is attached starts to come down because the goldenrod is being weighed down. And we start to see that interconnected play. And as we start to see those things, those types of emotions, those types of movements, we get some really interesting introspection that comes as a result. One day we were out, a particularly windy day, and there was a woman that had lost her son. Her son had committed suicide a year previous. And she came out to the walk and she had shared some of her story with me prior to and then since. But it was a particularly windy day and we're watching and some of the trees, she says, you know, as I said to folks, what are you noticing? They see these branches and she says they're moving like this and then they see other leaves and they're flickering like this. And she says, I noticed that even though it's the same breeze, everybody reacts to it in a different way. And that's okay. And yet, in our lives, when a breeze comes through, a challenge comes through, everybody expects you to react to it the way they would. And that causes stress and causes anxiety for me. And I found that really interesting because it's so true. You know, when you think about it, we always want to give people the answer, well, do it this way, deal with it that way. And it was really interesting to see her bring that back to a very personal moment for her. So I've referred a little bit to some of this sharing that happens at the end of each of the invitations that we do. And so, you know, after the first two, we might do a few different ones. Like I said, you know, the Go Off and Find a Forest theme. Sometimes we create a piece of nature art. So, you know, there's all kinds of different water invitations and whatnot. But after each of those invitations, we come back in a group and we do this thing called council. And council is really based on indigenous practice, both North American indigenous people, but really indigenous people right across the world. I just recently did my DNA, I did that spit in the tube and sent it off, and I got my tube back, and it told me that I'm a Viking, and I'm a Druid, and I'm a Leprechaun, and I'm a Conquistador, right? So it's like anything to do with beer or swords, I'm a chick. Right? So in all of those different cultures, they all, if you go back far enough, those people practice council. And council is a way of the community coming together around a similar problem or issue. So we practice what we call light touch council. We don't solve the problems of the world. But at the end of each invitation, I give a prompt, and then the people around will actually share what it is that they're noticing or what it is that they experienced as a part of that invitation. And we use a talking piece, and we talk about, you know, the role of the talking piece, that when you hold it, you must speak from the heart, which means you speak without judging yourself. And when you're not holding it, you're listening from the heart, which means that you're listening without judging the words of the other person. And that you're not spending that free time trying to think of what it is you're going to say when the talking piece comes around to you. And nobody likes speaking in public except for maybe me and a few other people in the world. But this is a really powerful tool. And really the most important role is the people that aren't holding the talking piece. Because for so many of us, we're never heard. How many of you have ever had something to share, something that you needed to share, but there was nobody to just bear witness? Just hear it. And so counsel becomes really important because that's your job as the person not holding the piece, is just to allow those words and those thoughts and those feelings to be expressed without judgment, without a need to fix them. Just hear them. And it can be very powerful. And we certainly allow for those people that don't want to share, that would like to keep their comments between them and the forest, we allow for that, so silence is always honored as well.
How do you decide what's the talking piece? Is it community?
So the question was, how do I decide what the talking piece is? At each stop, I just look down at the ground, and whatever I find, that's what I pick up. Yeah.
Because it's very native in nature.
That's right. Yeah.
Talking stick.
Yes, yes. So at the end of every forest therapy walk, we do what's called tea ceremony. And tea ceremony is sort of a nod back to the Japanese roots of the program. It's an opportunity for the community to come back in, and slowly we start to talk about, whatever the tea plant. So as I walk, I harvest from my walk the different plants that I want to use in the tea, and then I talk about the different properties. So there's a lot of, you can imagine, there's a lot of training around edible plants, what you can use, what you can't use, what are some of the things that you need to be careful of. And so we come back together, and that's when I slowly start to bring them back up into their head, back up into their brains, and into that thinking place as opposed to that feeling place. But tea ceremony is also very, for me, very symbolic. And this is a me thing. It's not a forest bathing thing, or not from our association anyway. But for me, because I'm harvesting from the trees or the plants that are within the forest, for me, this is a way of actually bringing the forest into my body. So when we're out in the forest and we're walking around, we're spending 2 or 3 hours wandering around in the body of the forest. And she's invited us in, and she's going to share her wisdom with us. And at the end, this is just a way of bringing the forest inside our bodies to take her away with us. Now, we talk about the fact that I'm a forest therapy guide, and those words are really, really important. The process of bringing that title together, because I'm a forest therapy guide. I am not a therapist. Right? The forest is the therapist. I'm just the guide. I'm just the one that opens the door and creates a safe place for that to happen. So how do you find a guide? Because I'm in Kawartha. and as much as I would love to come and do forest bathing all across the province all the time, it's really not realistic for me to do so. Plus my boss would probably get a little irritated. So we have an association. It's called the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy Guides and Programs. And I put the website up there. But if you just Google Nature and Forest Therapy, you'll come to their website. And on their website, you will find a directory. Oh, you can just, I've screen captured it. Yep.
Oh.
It's hard to read on the Google letters. What does it say?
Sure. Can you go back and I'll just read it out? So it's www.natureandforesttherapy.org/guide-training/guide-directory. Okay. I'm going to show you what you'll find when you click on that in a moment. But one of the other things I wanted to talk about is the fact that there are several conservation authorities across the GTA that are offering forest therapy walks as part of their program. So of course, Forest Conservation, I'm the one presenting, I get to put my name first. Cataraqui Conservation, which is over in the Kingston area, they also have a wonderful program. And Stana, who is the guide there, was actually my mentor through the guide process. So, Toronto Region Conservation Authority here in Toronto also offers forest bathing walks, as does Credit Valley Conservation over in Brampton. So when you follow that link that I put up, you're going to come to a map of the world, and you're going to see all these different, and as you zoom in to Ontario, and you zoom in closer, you'll see all these different icons. And so the blue icons are the guides, the certified forest therapy guides, and if you click on those, which you can't do here because I didn't put the link in, but if you click on those when you're online, it will actually bring up the information on that guide, where they will deliver programs, what kind kinds of programs they deliver, what kinds of walks and experiences they deliver, if they're associated with another organization as well. It will also give you their contact information. So it will give you, in some cases, their cell phone number. Most oftentimes it's an email address, possibly a website, that will take you so that you can find that individual and find out when they're leading a hike and whether or not it's open to the public or whether it's closed. Or if you wanted to arrange one for your organization, then you can start having those conversations with them. The little teddy bear faces, those, I think that's what they are. Those are guides in training. So those are guides that have gone through the 1-week training process and are still in the 6-month practicum training. So they can still lead, they can still guide a walk, but it just means that they haven't completed that 6-month training yet. And then the little bunny rabbit, those are guides that are actually part of the training program, so they are actually trainers, guide trainers. Yeah, that's what they are. So that's what I have for you today. I hope if you haven't had the opportunity to go out and take a forest bathing walk or a forest therapy walk, that you will do so. I can tell you that it will change your life. I can't say how, because everybody's experience is different, but it will change your life. Thank you very much. I can take some questions, or do you have time for questions? A couple of questions if anybody has any?